overwhelmed after listening to Preeti, because the center of my presentation is about feelings and emotions, which is the source of innovation, actually. And I think Preeti has put it so very, very powerfully. Thanks, Preeti, for this very beautiful. I was energized this morning when I saw young people taking part, being on the stage here this morning, because I've been working with young people all these years, and all that I'm going to talk about this morning is about young people and how in a place that we run, Bosco Institute, which is a college for social work, we're trying to do things a little differently because of the situations in which we find ourselves, and also the experiences which are very personal. There are some, I basically tell a few stories and a few questions. One of the first questions that I ask my students when they reach is, what makes you angry? I ask this question because of an experience I had and the power of anger. Though when we are kids, we are told don't get angry, but today I tell my students, please get angry, because you cannot be a social worker if you are not angry. It was in 1992 when I was caught as an insurgent by the security forces in Assam. I was in Dibrugarh. I was the vice principal of a school. I had gone to the town. The state government was dismissed. The president's rule was on because of the ULFA, the United Liberation Front of Assam issue in Assam. And I parked my car and I came out. Someone came and just caught me like this and dragged me into a building. And I was wondering what's happening because I had no clue who these people were. And they took me inside a dark hall, and I was surrounded by about 20 people with sticks, with lathis. There are no uniforms. I can still see the sticks coming down, but I know I was not scared. I don't know how. To make the long story short, I came out saying it's okay, being a priest, forgive, etc., etc. I came home and I looked at the back of my knee. By the way, I'm not limping because of that incident. I'm limping because I played badminton day before yesterday with my students and I kicked myself. They say I kicked myself. I'm not so very sure. And I think my some nerve or ligament is damaged. When I came back home and I saw the back of my knee, it was black and blue, then I was angry. Till then, the problem of insurgency for me was out there. It was of intellectual curiosity. But that night, that problem became my problem. I began to think, if I were an Assamese boy, would I come out of that camp? Because there were very many young people who had disappeared from villages, including our neighborhood, and we did not know where they went. And that anger turned into a research, because that year I was asked to do my MSW. And I knew we were supposed to do a research, and I knew exactly what I am going to do. I did the research on what makes an insurgent. I met the ULFA, which turned into sessions on violence in our youth programs and turned into a peace-building program with young people at the center, starting with their experience. So this question for me is very important. What makes you angry? And anger is energy, and I think another shade of anger is sadness or pain, deep pain. What makes you deeply, deeply sorrowful or sad or pained? And what do you feel when you encounter new situations, new circumstances, new realities? These are fundamental questions that I ask my students, because from where we begin the process of innovation. By the way, I don't say I am an innovator. I don't claim that I am an innovator. It is those who come and see what we do, they are saying it is innovation. This is something that I keep on my table. I designed this and keep on my table. Why be normal? Somebody talked yesterday about being normal and why to be normal. The whole fundamental question is, what is normal? What is normal? And for young people, for a person who is growing up, this is important. And I know there are quite a number of my students who have changed their life course simply by looking at this. And I was asking this question, why be normal? And what is normal? So, I believe innovations come from these 3 or 4 factors, that is, converting the energy of anger into empathy. Anger can be very destructive, and that's the reason why we are told don't get angry. But anger is also energy, which can help us to decide in favor of what is good for everyone, feeling strongly whatever is happening. Create meaning out of pain. We have just now had a very powerful presentation of creating meaning out of pain, something tremendously powerful. Breaking free of the stifling normal. We all get stifled. Do this, don't do that, this is not good, what will people say? What will others say? What will your neighbors say? All these are normal things. Break free of all this. Venture out of the comfortable. I guess this is where the social innovation comes from. It comes from a strong sense of feeling for those who are around you and what happens around you. There is this collective of youth workers called the Mutiny, the Youth Collective, based in Delhi. I am a board member, and we have come out with this understanding of what youth work can be. You know, there are 4 spaces that young people navigate very comfortably and which is socially accepted. One is the family, that you have to be obedient to your parents, you need to follow what parents are saying, etc., and take care of your parents, which is accepted and needed. There is also this need for getting educated, having a nice career, making lots of money, and setting up a nice future for yourself, which is also accepted. You need to have friends, you need to have a circle of friends to live with. You also have certain lifestyle and leisure. All these are accepted for young people. Now, while we are answering to the compulsions of these 4 spaces, the question that we need to ask is, where is the space for a young person for himself? Where does he ask questions to himself? Other than listening to parents, being compelled by the demands of a career, and following what their friends are doing, and engaging in consumption that is not sustainable, where is the space for oneself? And I think the approach that we are following is, can we bring this own space to the center of all these 4 spaces, which we today call the 5th space. We are not giving it a name, because by giving it a name, we are limiting it. The 5th space is the space that is meant for the self, where you are discovering who you are, what your dreams are, and then set a course for yourself and make meaning, add meaning to all the other 4 spaces. And I think that's where we are taking our students to. And therefore, the 5th space is, one question is, how do we make our youth future ready? Now the question is, what is the future? 20 years back, could we imagine this future today? Can we imagine what the future will be 10 years hence? We can't, because things have changed so fast. So when we are saying we have to make our youth future ready, what future are we talking about? We don't even know what tomorrow will be like. So there is nothing certain about future. The only certainty about future is the self. That I become strong enough to take on whatever future is going to happen to me. And that is the 5th space. I'm strong about myself. I know what I want. I know where I am, what my dreams are, what I want to contribute, and that will help me to take on the future, whatever shape that future takes. The 5th space is also the space to rebel. I'm sure all good people sitting down here, you all have rebelled when you were young. Every person rebels when they are young. You rebel against parents, you rebel against authority, you rebel against community, you rebel against culture, you rebel against the government. And in the Northeast, what we are seeing is, and I did the study on the Ulfa, this rebellion was not acknowledged, and therefore this rebellion went to the streets, and a lot of destruction had happened. And therefore, for me, the definition of youth work is giving safe space for young people to rebel, which is an anger-absorbing space. And for me in the Northeast is very important because I have students who come from situations of conflict, lack of opportunities, lack of access to a lot of things that people in a place like this take for granted. And they come with a lot of frustrations, anger, disappointments, not knowing what to do, senselessness, directionlessness. Can we allow them to express what they feel? And as someone who guides and mentors that space, I absorb that anger and create a space that's radiating with energy. And I think that's what we are trying to do. It's a space to connect with oneself while engaging with social realities, and therefore, there is this whole process of action, reflection, action, which leads to the creation of social entrepreneurs. Because when you're connected with a social reality and you feel strongly about it, you just cannot sit idle and say, I will make my life better. So the whole question that we have been asking at Bosco Institute was, is it going to be an academic space focusing on marks and grades and ranks and whatnot, or is it going to be a youth space? And I must say, I am a dropout. I stopped studying after finishing the first part of BA because I found no sense in it. I didn't know why on earth I was studying all this. I just stopped studying. I did not tell anyone. And then, that was in 82. In 91, I was told that, 92, January, I was told that I will go for MSW. Then I told my superiors I have not done my BA. And then they said, no, you better do. So I had to do, and then did my MSW. MSW made a lot of sense. Then I was forced to do my PhD. I don't know why I did it. And therefore, today I'm running a college. So you can imagine what happens in that college. And I consider the MSW course as an excuse to do everything else that I want to do with young people. So therefore, we don't clap for any marks. We don't consider ranks. I don't even care where they pass their exams. Once they asked me, the first semester, first batch, one of the students, when the exam was coming near, he asked me, Father, please tell the teachers to give marks, give notes. I said, for what? So we can prepare for our exam. I said, I'm not interested in your passing your exam. I'm interested in your learning, and that's important. This morning they were talking about education here. And so we learn. And today we have engaged, we have started a process of every student in either individually or in small groups running their own social change programs in any area of their interest. And they have continued this for the 2 years they are present there. And today the Viva for that is going on. Not about success, but about the process that they are going through. And I think that way we help them to get in touch with themselves and with their spaces. When I started Bosco Institute, some of my seniors told me, Jerry, you have to be very careful. You know, young adults are coming there. They will have a lot of experiences, addictions, alcohol, drugs, sex, whatnot. Therefore, you should make sure that you have very strict rules. I listened to everyone, and my question was, rules, order, conformity, does it actually help? Do you think surveillance cameras make us better persons? Do you think prisons form disciplined individuals? So my contention was, keeping with Don Bosco's tradition, I'm not going to run a prison. I'm going to run a home where there is freedom, introspection, responsibility, growth, and the fifth space. And therefore, we have no rules. We have no strict rules except one or two, and that is put on the notice board when they come. One is respect. We have students coming from, 15, 20 communities. If all of them speak their own language, we will not understand each other. And so respect for cultures, because remember, some of them are fighting among themselves in their own places. So they need to come and learn how to respect as human beings. And the second is the academic requirement, because they have come for a degree. But being regular with your learning process is important. Those are the only two rules. All the rest are negotiable. So this is the kind of freedom that we create, a space for young people to look outward and dream. Dreams born of pain, anger. Dreams born of pain, making sense. And dreams that disrupt the normal. And with that, we have started this this. We have this. I put this girl because she has inspired me to start a process. Her name is Manyung. She was very, very angry and depressed because her father died when she was very young. She was 18. Her father died of alcoholism, and she was very, very angry. And very angry with her father, very depressed about it because she was very close to her, the father. And when she came for MSW, she did medical and psychiatric social work. All her focus was on alcoholism, field work, research, everything. And she came to Bangalore, worked for 1 year, then she came back and talked to me and spoke to me this. If I could help another girl like me from having to feel the kind of pain that I went through, my life would be meaningful. And she had a dream. She wanted to work with alcoholics. She wanted to work with women alcoholics because women alcoholics are not recognized. They don't see women drinking. Now my question was, should young dreams be allowed to die? There and then we announced an award for our students, Youth Involve Award, because we have 3 words in our logo, that is inspire, innovate, and involve. So we announced the Youth Involve Award without knowing where money will come from, because we run on a very tight budget. 1 lakh for anyone who wants to start something that is meaningful. And some of the contributors are sitting down here, one of my friends. Javaha was one of the first ones to contribute
Jerry,
to
may
that.
I request you to conclude, please?
Yes, I'm concluding. And Youth Involve is a process where we are asking our students, anyone who wants to start something out of their anger, out of their pain, getting involved, we have a support program for organization. And I'm proud to say, this is a video I'm not going to show, that we have 14 plus organizations that have started in the last 4 years in various corners of the Northeast, dealing with things like giving space to young people, organic farming, working with senior citizens, working with all kinds of, spread across the Northeast in 4 states, basically, or 5 states. And all of them are, I'm not saying they are comfortable. They are fighting against their families, and we realize now we also need to work with parents when we are working with youth very strongly, especially if you are going to push them off the edge and asking them to fly. We also need to take the parents into confidence because we never seem to grow up being children at any time in our society. So these I am not going to talk about. The story continues. We have started a process called You Start Any for promoting young entrepreneurs in the Northeast. We started it this year. We had about 130 applicants. We have selected about 60. We had given the training, and the process is going on. The second part of the dream is to set up a grassroots innovation and entrepreneurship hub to bring in local wisdom, because there are so many young people who have never been to school doing wonderful things to solve their daily problems very innovatively because they have no other option. Now, can we bring them, give them a platform, scale up, connect them, and make those kind of innovations useful for the rest of humanity? And that's one dream that we have. And you're all most welcome to join us in this dream of ours to set up this grassroots innovation and entrepreneurship hub. I am speaking it very confidently, but be sure, I'm not really sure what I am saying when I am saying we are setting up this place. We have big dreams. Money is always a problem. I cannot stop without this, the inspiration. I come from the Don Bosco Society, and Don Bosco said this: when it is for the good of youth, I rush ahead to the point of temerity, of madness. And I think that's what we are doing. Thanks a lot.